Hi there and welcome to another episode of the National Debates at the Debate Circle. I'll be your host, Dwyer Jeffrey. Do the words "justice be our shield and defender" and "plenty be found within our borders" ring a bell? Well, stay tuned as the teams on stage tackle the motion the government should shield local industries from the tough competition from developed countries by increasing taxes on imports. Proposing this motion, we have Moi Forces Academy, and opposing this motion, we have Meru School. All the best to the two teams on stage. First speaker, team proposition, you have 3 minutes.
Now, governments should shield local industries from tough competition from developed countries by increasing tax on imports. Panel, this is Frederick Ochieng from the Moi Forces Academy, ready to strongly propose this motion. Now, we, as side proposition, believe that the increase on tax on imports will not only shield our local industry, but lead to economic growth in the long run. Now, panel, what is a government? A government is a ruling body of a country that is responsible for the making, enforcing, and regulation of laws. What is to shield? To shield is to simply protect. What are tax on imports? These are tariffs or duties imposed on goods and services brought into the country from foreign sources. And what are developed countries? These are nations that have passed the process of industrialization and are actually at a stable economic state. And what is competition? Now, panel, if you may allow me to labor on this, competition is healthy incitement from party A and party B. Now, why am I laboring on this? Competition has two aspects. There is healthy competition and there is tough competition. Now, tough competition is what I am laboring on this motion. Now, tough competition is where there is an unfair stature in the economy for local industries and foreign goods. This is in the sense of tough competition does not give local industries space to breathe at an economic stature. Now, what does this tough competition mean for our local industries? Tough competition forces our local industries to reduce their prices on goods to actually cope up with competition in the global industry, in the global market. Now, panel, is this actually good to achieve SDG number 9, that is industry, innovation, and infrastructure? No, that is not, because SDG number 9 labors on the aims on the building of resilient infrastructure, protection of inclusive and sustainability in industrialization, and faster innovation. This motion also deals with the SDG number 1, that is zero poverty, that aims to eradicate poverty and ensures that all people have access to resources, and SDG number 8, decent work and economic growth, in the sense of economic growth that aims on the development of local industries and inevitably leading to economic growth. Now, panel, I'm here to show you that the fact of imposing this tax on imports, we will eventually achieve these SDGs before the time of accomplishment. Now, panel, my second speaker will come here and labor on the framework of this import tax, but I will show you the outcome. Now, you see, I am here to show you that, after this import tax, what are we bracing ourselves for as a nation in the economic sector? This will encourage growth, and this will encourage innovation and growth of our local industries, tackling SDG number 9. In the sense of, after eradicating this tough competition, we will have given our local industry space to develop in the innovative sector, that hence achieving SDG number 9, preservation of jobs. Panel, by the virtue of giving our local industry space to breathe after this tough competition is out of the way, we will have accomplished job placements for those who do not have jobs, hence achieving SDG number 1, no poverty in the long run, and self-sufficiency. Panel, if we continue to rely on these imports, what will be the outcome if the global market does not fare with us? What will rely on our local industries that we have shielded by placing these taxes, hence achieving SDG number 8 in the sense of economic growth. Second speaker, side opposition, task on you.
First speaker, team opposition, you have 3 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury and judges, it is true to some extent that protectionism, which you fail to determine, and it's the whole essence of why we're here today, is a way that used by some governments, and a good one at that, to shield local industries. But at the mention of the name itself, protectionism, two questions arise. One, is it the only way in which we can shield our local industries? And better still, Is it the safest and most efficient way? Jehu Wadiel is the name, prestigious Meru School is the home, and I'm here to oppose the motion that states that the government should shield local industries from tough competition from developed countries by imposing taxes on imports. To my first question I posed, is it the only way? If you're interested in Greek mythology, as I am, we usually have 3 elder gods. In the same way, there are usually 3 main ways implemented by the governments to shield local industries, one of them being protectionism, the other currency devaluation, and foreign investors. Briefly, to define what protectionism means, it means an economic policy where a country imposes taxes on imports like tariffs, quotas, or subsidies to shield their local countries from tough competition from foreign countries. It's basically like putting up walls around a business with the aim of making it profitable, with the aim of making it multiply. But again, 2 questions arise from the mention of this. 1, who like to be trapped behind walls? And second, does protectionism really fulfill what it promises? Currency devaluation simply means when a country creates a downward adjustment, a downward adjustment to its currency value to balance trade. Currency devaluation reduces the cost of a country's exports and makes imports less attractive. So if we adopt currency devaluation, it will be a win-win for both. A good example of this is, let's say a commodity comes from US, from US. A US dollar costs 1 shilling, not costs 1 shilling. A US dollar converted to Kenyan shilling is 70. Devalue our currency by 10% to get $1 is to 77 shillings. That will basically cripple the purchasing power of us Kenyans. How is this so? We'll need 7 shillings more to purchase the same commodity, and Americans will need the same dollar to purchase more goods. That's why I'm saying it's a win-win. More export, less import. To compare currency devaluation and protectionism, I'll take 2 countries from the Middle East. We have Iran and Oman. Oman, seeing, let's say, adopted pride, went with protectionism, and Iran went with currency devaluation. What are their Oman adopted protectionism, and it led to massive unemployment. How is this so? How is this so? It was in 1986 when it adopted protectionism. Its current unemployment rate status was 17.4. In over 37 years, from to 2023, the current unemployment rate ranges from 69.1%. If you take Iran, it adopted the currency devaluation in 1975. Its current unemployment rate was 78%. Right now, it's at a whooping 11.3%, all thanks to currency devaluation. Now, what I'm offering you is currency devaluation as the windfall. And what my fellow learned opposers are offering is Armageddon as protectionism. Thank you for your time.
Second speaker, team proposition, you have 3 minutes.
If you still believe that African governments should not shield local industries from tough competition by developed countries, then you quite simply don't get the bigger picture. So please, let me be the luminary in your land of darkness and shed some light upon you. Okay, Rosi, Bani, Misera, Moi Forces Academy. Now, something that my opponents quite simply don't get is the tough competition that our local industries face. We have a problem in all of this. The problem in all of this is decline in local industries. The GDP in Kenya has declined by 0.6% in the last fiscal year. Why is that happening? Because of the decline in our local industries. So what should we do to find the solution to this problem? Increase in customs duty. When we increase the import tax, the customs duty increment will be used in 2 ways. Number 1, it acts as a source of government revenue. And since it acts as a source of government revenue, not only will it be used in the healthcare sector, in the education sector, in the transport and communication sector, in every single other sector in our country, leading to national development, industrial development, and mechanical development, but also it is going to be used to reduce the price competitiveness between locally produced goods and foreign goods, thus giving our locally produced goods giving our local industries an upper hand in terms of market domination. And how is this going to benefit us as a nation, as a whole, in this aspect? A carpenter selling furniture off the side of the road. If we increase the import duty on this specific good of furniture, not only will we increase the chance of this local consumer going to this local producer and buying this furniture from him as opposed to an imported good which is going to be at a higher price, but also we are going to impact directly the life of this carpenter selling furniture off the side of the road. How? Through the implementation of our framework. What does our framework entail, ladies and gentlemen? Our framework will entail targeted approach. How will targeted approach work? We're going to increase the customs duty on specific imported goods that give our local industries the most competition. For example, furniture. What are we sitting on? What is this? What is this? What is this? Every single institution in this country makes good use of furniture. And this is a very wide and vast market. So if we increase the import duty on furniture, for example, imported furniture, foreign furniture, then we give this local trader an upper hand, not only boosting his economic growth, his standard of life, but also the increase in customs duty will be used by the government in implementation of this policy. This satisfies SDG number 1 and SDG number 9. Other sentiments of this framework. We look at the gradual implementation, a gradual increase in the tax of the goods entering this country. That will cater for SDG number 1. We'll talk about domestic investment, supportive policies, trade agreements and negotiation, and monitoring and evaluation, channeling, making sure that these funds channeled towards the support of local industries are used effectively, efficiently, and successfully. All of this will not only cater for SDG number 1, which talks about no poverty, but also SDG number 8, decent work and economic growth. Furthermore, SDG number 10, reduced inequalities. And with that, I rest their case. Okirosi, Bani, Misera, Moi Forces Academy.
Second speaker, team opposition, you have 3 minutes.
Mahatma Gandhi once said, "If you want to change your world, start with yourself." Michael Jackson later then said that I am starting by looking with the man in the mirror. So let's look in the mirror, shan't we? We are the Republic of Kenya, a third world country with a bleeding economy whose currency ranks as low as 83rd in the world. The million-dollar question in this scenario is that, can things get any worse? And the answer is yes, which is why I'm here to oppose the motion that the Kenyan government should shield local industries from the tough competition from developed countries by increasing taxes on imports. Now, on September 22nd, 2022, the Tax Foundation published an interesting article in which they exposed the United States of America's attempt at this very same feat. And it was quite sad. In 2018, Donald Trump increased the tariffs by 25% on all steel and aluminum imports. The results are as follows. Between 50,000 to 197,000 individuals across the states lost their jobs. The steel industry incurred losses worth $600 million US, and the cars that relied on aluminum metal to make their brands made losses exceeding $1 billion US. It was later concluded that for every 1% the tariffs were added, a corresponding 0.1% was lost in the country's export growth. It was then concluded that if this were to be repealed and finally changed, 8,700 jobs would be created and $2.4 billion in all the sectors would be realized as profit. Furthermore, it would impact our foreign relations quite negatively. Take, for example, in 1931, President Herbert Hoover, once again of the States. He woke up one morning and decided, together with his cabinet, to increase the tariffs on agricultural imports by 20%. This spread across 20,000 goods and merchandise. Now, he thought the rest of the world, being as it would take it positively and easily comply to these conditions, right? No, very wrong, actually. It went so bad that 67% of all global trade by America vanished. And all exports by America dropped by 75% in the following year. We currently import goods of petroleum in 2021 worth 353 billion Kenyan shillings. This was before the subsidies were removed. This was before COVID hit us hard. And this was even before the Russia-Ukraine warfare, which led to a global inflation in such. If we were to increase the taxes on imports now, what would be the effect it would have on us? Let's look up and paint a picture of this. Yeah, I believe it's not a very pretty picture to picture, is it? And as I finish, there are some goods that you just do not have. Take, for example, the Nyayo car and the Mobius car. Kenya's only 2 attempts at making a car. One is nowhere to be seen. The other is incredibly overpriced. We can otherwise import the Honda Accord, which is a much cheaper, much more efficient, and actually functional car if we are to compare with the other 2 cars. Believe me, proposing this motion is opposing the 8th Sustainable Development Goal, decent work and economic growth. With that, I rest my case and I thank you for your time.
Third speaker, team proposition, you have 3 minutes.
My name is Abubakar Risu from Team Proposition to propose the motion that states government should shield local industries from the tough competition from developed countries by increasing tax on imports. Allow me to correct the second speaker who narrowed down to Kenya. Well, this motion is not talking solely about Kenya. This is about government. This is a global motion. We cannot subject only Kenya. You are not looking at the bigger picture. You are not looking at that person there in Bangladesh. You're not looking at that person there in India. And allow me to answer all of Team Opposition's questions. They asked, is it the best, safe, and most efficient way? They asked, does it fulfill what it promises, this protectionism that they pointed out? Well, we have those examples here. We have where increase in tax on imports has successfully been implemented and has led to large-scale economic growth in these certain countries. Allow me to begin. A, India. Increase import taxes on electronic goods to encourage the growth of domestic electronics manufacturing industry. In the fiscal year of 2019 to 2020, electronic exports reached approximately 11.5 billion on an increase compared to previous years, according to India Briefing. How can we say that increase in taxes won't work when we're looking at India? Allow me to go to the second example, Brazil. Brazil has a higher import tariffs on automobiles to protect its automobile industry. Underline automobile. I'll get to that later. Brazil's automobile production in 2021 has exceeded 2.2 million units. Ladies and gentlemen, how can we say that increase in taxes won't work? I've answered your questions. And allow me to get on to the other case. They said that the steel industry, they've given multiple examples in the US and how increase in taxes has failed. Well, what you simply don't get is that my second speaker came with a framework. We're not just implementing these taxes all over the place. We're coming with a framework on how we will do it, why we will do it, what will happen. Well, he said targeted approach. Targeted approach. We won't tax any good, just any other good. We won't tax food, we won't tax healthcare. But rather, what we are going to do is that we are going to target the goods that are in tough competition. A good example of where this has worked is in Brazil. In Brazil, back on the same example, higher import tariffs on automobiles to protect the automobile industry. Underline automobile, because the automobile industry is highly competitive. Hence, they increase the import tariffs in order to allow the local industries to produce these automobiles, hence increasing the output, hence increasing the economic growth. How can we say that increase in taxes don't work? Yes, they come with other solutions to the problem in the motion, but they have not shown you why it has worked. They have not shown you how it will work. We as Team Proposition have come and told you that the main problem here is that there's a decline of local industries, which can be accounted by the FCD of Kenya. The GDP growth rate is at negative 0.6% in Kenya. And globally, there has been a decline since the COVID year 2019. So how are we going to solve this? We're going to increase the taxes on import tariffs in order to engage these local industries, hence leading to economic growth. If you do not agree with the Team Proposition, you're simply not quite getting the bigger picture. And that is who we call Team Opposition. Thank you.
Third speaker, Team Opposition, you have 3 minutes.
Now, ladies and gentlemen inside the room, they asked how it will not work, that is increase of tax. And I have an answer to their question. Well, as per Investopedia, an article written on the 28th of July 2022, the Bahamas increased their tax on imports from 10% to 17.1%. That was in 2015, 8 years ago. And Kenya remains at 10%. Now, let me ask you, when we look at this, in Kenya, 40% of adults are employed, while in Bahamas, only 10% of adults are employed. That is as per the same article. Again, according to the Observatory of Economic Complexity, their website, as of 2021, Kenya ranked 83rd in the Economic Complexity Index, while Bahamas ranked number 161. Well, let me ask you this. What is the essence of adding tax if it is not going to benefit us? Again, according to the GeoRank website, an article written on 7th August 2021, Kenya has a gross domestic production, rather GDP, of 87.9 billion US dollars and is 66 in the world. And the Bahamas has, which is number 137, has a GDP of 12.4 billion. So tell me, how does this work? And in the words of famous former president of the United States, George W. Bush, fool me one time, shame on me. Fool me 2 times, can't put the blame on me. But fool me 3 times, I am done playing games. Look, they're lying to us. This increase in tax is not what is leading to failure of local industries. One, there is the incompetent media and marketing industry. I'll give an example of the music industry. Well, we have a song, Sauti Sol's song, Tujiangalie. This speaks on the challenges of living in the modern day world and warns us against them. Now, we have a similar song that is encouraging us to do something good. That is Lil Dicky's Earth, which is encouraging us to conserve our earth. Now, look at this. Through the marketing Sauti Sol had, they got YouTube views of 4.7 million. And the Lil Dicky song has 403 million views on YouTube. Why? Because of the incompetency of the marketing industry. If the government were to pay heed to this and eventually market the songs in our country to improve the local music industry, what would it bring? It would bring affiliation with the Pan-African music industry, which leads to an opportunity to host concerts and eventually provide a platform for Kenyan artists and at large the Kenyan music industry to grow. This is because according to the Oprah News on 8th August 2016, a very famous artist, Chris Brown, made 150 million from a concert in Mombasa. When we use the Kenya Revenue Authority tax calculator, this means 44 million in income, that is tax, goes to the government. And Wizkid, who is also now another popular artist, he got his platform from Chris Brown, and that's when they were able to collaborate and make the song Time and Affection. Now, what if this was a Kenyan artist? Again, we have, the government is not employing critical thinking. Why is this? Because as per the International Trade Administration website, an article written on 7th of August 2023, the construction and real estate industries in the country were the largest growing industries, registering a growth of 10.1%. If the government were to improve the education provided to the education provided to the professionals in this industry, maybe it would raise their trust in these people and eventually grant them tenders, which leads to growth of those 2 local industries. So tell me this, what are they saying if whatever they're saying is a mere lie? I have been Levin Mark from the prestigious Meru School. Thank you.
Team Proposition, you have 1 minute for your final submission.
My name is Abubakar Yusuf, coming in with the final reply speech of this motion. And why has Team Proposition won? That is the biggest question here, because there was really no debate. Well, it's simple as this. We came with the problem, which is the decline of local industries, and we came with our solution, which is the increase in tax on imports, and we came up with how it's going to work. They did, the burden of Team Opposition was to also come up with a similar solution, but they failed to do that. They came with a solution that was half-baked. They said currency evaluation, they said foreign investors, but they were not able to really explain how this is going to work. But we of Team Proposition have come with everything. We have come all the way. Rather than the half loaf that they are presenting, we are coming with the full loaf. And with that, I rest their case. As simple as that.
Team opposition, you have 1 minute for your final submission.
Now, allow me to answer your question. Again, the Kenyan local industries have low working etiquette and facilities, which is, I'll compare two industries, or rather one industry, which is the delivery industry. We have Wells Fargo and our local Posta Kenya. As of 2022, according to Statista, Wells Fargo made an income of 73.8 billion US dollars and 5.4, and Posta made a deficit of 5.4, that is debts. Now, how does the government fix this? One, they should get rid of all outdated equipment that is being used by these companies. Again, according to the Center for Cities, an article written on 2nd May 2021, we should make the cities our center of growth. That takes me back to my point on the construction companies. If we opted to use local construction companies, we would have their headquarters in cities, which provides employment. This is because, as per Statista, Kenya has at least 15 million people, which is almost a third of the population, living in the 4 cities. So let me ask you this. If we made the cities our center for growth, why would we not grow our local industry without employing use of increase in import tax? Thank you.
Moi Forces Academy, Frederick Ochieng, a very passionate debater, very coherent argument, but you spent a lot of time on the introduction and laying ground for your team. As a first debater, you need to come with solid points. After you give a very brief introduction, then you hammer your points home, That is very, very important. And I'm giving you this advice and the other teams in case you proceed to the next level. Avoid spending a lot of time on the introduction, just a few minutes, and then the gist of it all should be on your points. And it's prudent you give a global perspective, like in this motion, a global perspective, a national perspective, then your personal perspective, where you try to come up with a logical argument. Bani Misera Okerosi, a very eloquent debater, very coherent, very passionate. However, you equally need to work on your time management. I like the bit of the customs duty you mentioned, the SDGs, and a plan on how these taxes are going to be, enacted. That stood out, especially in terms of mastery of argument. However, you also need to work on your time management. That is really, really important. You prioritize the rebuttaling and then your points, so that in case you run out of time already, you've done justice to what is expected. Otherwise, you're a debater with a lot of potential. Abubakar Yusuf, there is something unique about your style and presentation. I liked the bit of going global, the India example, Brazil, and how things have worked. You're a very coherent debater. Good use of rhetorical questions. You are a debater with a lot of potential. I'm seeing you smoking those seniors out once you go to the senior category. So keep it up, keep it up.
Meru School is opposing the motion that the government should shield. So you're saying they should not shield. And the question is, then what should the government do? The team from Moi Forces already told us there's a decline in our local industries. So what should the government do? How do we revive our local industries? We expected to hear that, for example, that our national GDP, the largest contributors in any economy, especially in the African economy, are the SMEs. But the informality in the SMEs hinders them from certain things. Say, for example, access to finance and so on. So those are the things that the government should actually be giving to these industries. Then you talk about capacity. Capacity of our local industries to meet international standards. You know, that's why we have imports, because maybe our local industries are not meeting the standards that we want to buy. So therefore, the government should encourage innovation locally that actually meets that level of standards. And that speaks to the SDGs you mentioned about. What about our EPZs, for example? We have processing zones for export. Is there a way government policy can have some of those which are made for export sold locally, so that then we don't have to import jeans and clothing from abroad, for example? Okay? So some of those points are needed to come out. I think largely, the gentleman, Manuel, I think brought about the issue of mobias, the local industry, and how, it's still costly to buy it. And the question is why? I expected you to expound on that and actually say, even our own local taxes are actually high. The government should relook at encouraging local manufacturing and local sourcing of materials. Then bring the issue of sustainable sourcing. We are an agricultural continent, and even globally, we are rich in raw material. If we can actually capitalize on sustainable sourcing, then we can go far.
And the scores are out. The judges have awarded Moi Forces Academy with 65.3%, a round of applause. And the judges have awarded Meru School with 67%, a round of applause. Therefore, this makes Meru School the winners of these debates. Remember to get more of our content. Follow us on all our social media platforms, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Threads. For now, it's goodbye from us.